welcome to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide in the Aston Martin GT4. This week it's week 12, the final race of the season, and we're at Spa. Without further ado, let's just get started. So that was the full speed lap of Spa in the GT4 Aston Martin. I'm now going to run you through the replay, just so I can point out all the driving lines and braking points and things. Track limits as well, which is a big factor here. So we're starting here just after the final corner. This is actually the start-finish line on this layout. But into turn 1, what we're looking for is the 100-meter board on the left. You can see here. Braking just about in line with that, so I think that's, from the driver's eye, that's just after it goes out of view. Just a little bit after it goes out of view. You've got to kind of judge when you're alongside it. Just down to third gear. Try and take quite a lot of this curb. Just make sure not to hit the wall. More curb would be fine. Even than I got here, just a little bit of the green would be okay. And then, because you're in third, you can get on the power quite hard. I had a little confidence lift there, just to make sure I didn't lose the rear. And you can run all the way out here, as long as you don't put 4 wheels over the red curb. It's okay for the track limits. Heading down the hill here, I was finding that if you leave it in 5th, it's actually faster up through a rouge. But it might depend on the fuel level and the wing setting, because you're kind of nearly hitting the limiter just before you go up the hill, but then you lose a bit of speed. So I think with 5th, it just helps to give it a bit more power to come through. And then I'm just upshifting on the exit here, but it's all easily flat. Just make sure you turn to the left here to widen it, and then try and get a little nibble of this curb. And then, as you can see here, you can really chop this curb. As long as you keep 2 wheels just on the red and white, you get away with it. That's right on the limit, I think. Then we just got the straight. Just trim the track down as much as you can. Straight line pointing towards that curb is what we're looking for over there in the distance. So pretty much as soon as we get to the curb, just a fraction before, we're getting on the brakes. And then use this curb as well to widen the corner before you turn in. So just down to 4th gear for this one. And you want to use all of the curbs through this section. So I get a bit here. If you get a little bit more than this, you can get away with a little bit, tiny bit more, but if you go too far, you do get an off track on the inside. And then this one, you want to take as much of it as you can without getting the grass on the exit where this geoblock disappears. So I just sort of cut across at the right moment there. Maintain a fourth gear through here. We just want to make sure that we come out and get over to the left. I don't like to use this curb. I've seen people use it in various cars before, but I'm less consistent if I use it. So I prefer not to, but it's up to you. Just a lift to turn it into the right here, and then again, just use all of this curb on the inside. The car's really nice over the curb, so you can get away with it. And here the track limit's quite generous, as long as you get back on, so you don't take too much sand or gravel here. It's generally alright for track limits. Coming into this one, we're looking for the curb again. I think I brake just about as just before I'm in line with the curb on the front. Down to third for this one, just trail braking in because it's a downhill off-camber corner. I sort of take two apexes. You can see the first apex there, drift out a little wide, and then I come back on the exit as I get back on the power. And up to fourth gear for this one, use some of the curb. Don't go on the green. That has a tendency to spin the car. But do use some of the curb to widen the corner. And then on the apex here, you've got a bit of geoblock behind the curb that you can use, right up to the grass. And the car can take it just fine. So make use of that. And the track limit here would get really close. As long as you keep two wheels on the red and white curb, it's okay. So you've really got to take advantage of that. Just it allows you to carry so much more speed out if you really maximize the width. Just make sure you get back on before the grass starts here. Now down the hill here, I think I go in a little bit too quick. Just marginally, I get away with it, but you can see I don't really have a reference for this one. I'm just sort of looking at the apex, and once you're about that far away, you're just braking gently, staying in fifth gear actually. So at this point, I think I've got a little bit too much apex speed, so I run out slightly wide. As you can see, the car's got so much grip that I was able to go flat anyway through the exit. So I don't think I really lost any time, but a more ideal line would be to just a little bit slower apex speed and then get more of a second apex on this curb. But this line works okay in this car because it's got so much rear traction. You can still go flat. And this one we're looking for the curbs again, braking just before the curbs. Yeah, just a little bit earlier than in some of the other cars in the sim, but just down 2 gears to third. Oh no, I think we actually maintain fourth. Just double check that. Yeah, you can see we stay in fourth. So just a note with this curb on the right, you can use it and you can not. I don't think it matters too much. Obviously, it helps the line through the corner, the angle through the corner if you use it, but bounces the car a little bit. So if you just nibble at it like I did here, just staying on the flat, it works out okay as well. But then I take a lot of this second curb, and then make sure you run out wide on the exit. Again, you can actually use more red curb than I do here, but bear in mind you do have to quickly get back across to the left, so it's not always ideal. So then you're getting quickly back across to the left, and we're looking again at this red curb. That's my reference. I'm braking just a car length before it. Staying in fourth, I don't upshift to fifth before the braking, even though you get close to the rev limit. It's just easier if you don't have to do the gear change. So down to fourth, use some of this inside curb, and then really maximize the exit because you're flat through the next part all the way up the back straight. So again, it's the same track limits as everywhere else. As long as you keep two wheels on the red and white, it's fine. Then turning in nice and late through here, so we just have one turn in, and we can hold it flat. If you're hesitant on the turn in, it can sometimes understeer out wide, but here we get away with it. The track limit again is the same with the red curb. So we were well within it there. Coming out the back straight that isn't really straight, just trim the track down as much as you can before you run out wide, before we turn into Blanchimont. A little lift. I don't think this car can do it flat, so it's best to lift before the corner and then you can just go flat from the apex pretty much. You can use more red curb, but the track limit that usually catches you out is if you don't get back on in time before the end of the curb. I think you've then got to have your wheels on the track by the end of the curb. So just a little lift. You don't want to hit the inside, so just get as close as you can to that curb without touching it. And then at the final corners, the bus stop, we're looking at this white line. I think I go a car length or two past it and then brake. There you can see just just after the rear of the cars passed over it, we start to brake, and braking hard all the way down to third. I actually don't use second here. I did try it, and I think it's probably as quick. It's just more difficult to control the traction. So I think for consistency purposes, especially when the tires are wearing, it's much better to use third. So again, I'm using some of this red and white curb on the entry just to widen the track, aiming for a little bit of the red sausage curb, just a little bit there. That just helps to rotate the car if you get it a little bit. Staying in third, and then we turn in just a little. You can see a little moment of throttle here on my input, but we lift and brake a little bit again on the second part. Again, just taking a little bit of that red sausage curb, and then because you're in third gear, you can get on the power really hard. Just be careful on the exit. I get very close here to an off track, but I just about get away with it. It's the same exact track limit as it is for most of the track. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the lap. So there we have it. That was the complete lap guide for the Aston Martin GT4 at Spa for the final week of the GT4 challenge. I hope you found it useful. The key thing I think to remember with this track is to really try and maximize the track limits. They might be more lenient than you at first realize with this track in the game. You can generally, most corners, as long as you have two wheels on the red and white curbs, it's legal. And that can gain you a huge amount of lap time, especially on the exits coming onto the straight sections. And you just carry way more speed. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel for more lap guides, and if you need any more information, check out the Discord or the website, and everything you need will be there. So that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one.